Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down one of the most powerful numbers in the entire world, the price. It's not just a random number on a tag, it's this incredibly complex strategy that can literally make or break a company.
But let's start with a question we've all asked ourselves. Why on earth do so many prices end in 99 cents? I mean, it feels like a silly little trick, right? But that single cent is really just the tip of a massive strategic iceberg. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly what's going on under the surface.
All right, let's dive in. A price isn't just a number. Not at all. It's a powerful message, it's a core strategy, and really, it's the very engine that drives a business forward. So the textbook definition is pretty straightforward. Pricing is just how a company decides what you're going to pay. But the real story, the interesting part, is in the how and the why. That's where a simple number turns into this really complex science.
Think about this for a second. Pretty much everything a company does, designing a product, running ads, shipping it to a store, all of that costs money. It's cash going out. Pricing is the only thing that brings revenue in. It is the one moment where all that effort and all that cost gets turned into actual cash.
So yeah, getting the price right is absolutely critical. It completely defines your profit, it's what makes you decide to buy something or just walk away, and it instantly tells you if a brand is a bargain bin special or a high-end luxury item. It's like the master lever for the entire business. Probably the best way to really get your head around pricing is to think of it as a balancing act. On one side, you have everything going on inside the company. And on the other, you've got the wild reality of the market. Let's take a look at both sides. It really boils down to these two big sets of forces. You've got the internal factors. That's everything a business can actually control, like its costs and its goals. Then you have the external factors, which is everything it can't control and just has to react to. Things like the economy, what competitors are doing, and of course us, the customers. So looking inside the company, the most obvious place to start is cost. You just can't price something for less than it costs you to make and sell it. Well, not for long anyway. But just as important are the company's goals. Is it trying to be the most profitable company out there or the biggest? A big push for growth might mean setting lower prices to get more customers, while a laser focus on profit means, well, you get the idea. And then you've got the whole wide world outside. How many people actually want this thing? What are my competitors charging? And maybe the most important question of all, what do customers feel like it's worth? Because look, a company can slap any price tag it wants on a product, but if we don't believe in that value, it's just going to sit on the shelf gathering dust. Okay, so you've got all these factors swirling around. How does a company actually pick a final number? Well, they don't just throw a dart at a board. They use a toolkit of proven pricing strategies. Let's open it up and see what's inside. The two most fundamental strategies are, believe it or not, complete opposites. Cost-based pricing is simple and logical. You figure out your costs, you add a little bit for profit, and boom, there's your price. Think of like a generic can of corn. But value-based pricing is totally different. It pretty much ignores cost and instead asks, what is this thing worth to my customer? This is how you get the price for a luxury car or a front-row concert ticket. It's based on desire, not on the cost of materials. Now, what if you're launching a brand new product? Well, you've got two classic moves. You can go low with penetration pricing. Set the price super cheap to grab a ton of customers right away. Or you can do the exact opposite with price skimming. Think about the very first iPhone. It started out really expensive for all the early adopters and die-hard fans, and then, over time, the price slowly came down for the rest of us. Two other really important tools are competition-based pricing, where you basically just look at what your rivals are doing and price accordingly, and psychological pricing. And that brings us right back to our 99-cent question. See, our brains have this funny quirk called the left digit effect. We tend to anchor on the first number we see. So $19.99 feels a whole lot cheaper than $20, even though it's just 1 cent. It's a little trick that targets our perception, not our logic. So here's the most crucial point of all. Pricing isn't a one-and-done decision, not even close. It's a living, breathing strategy that has to adapt and evolve, especially as a product gets older. The price of a product tells a story over its life. It might launch with a really high skimming price for those early fans. Then, as competitors start popping up, the price has to get more competitive to keep people interested. Later on, when it's a mature product, you start seeing discounts and sales to keep things moving. And finally, as it goes into decline, prices get slashed just to clear out the last of the inventory. The strategy is always changing. Now, when a company actually masters this whole dynamic process, the payoff is huge. And it really boils down to 4 key advantages.
Of course, you get higher profits. That's the obvious one. But it's so much more than that. You build a clear identity in the market. You create trust with customers who feel your price is fair, and you forge this powerful competitive advantage that's really, really hard for anyone else to beat.
So, in the end, pricing is never just a guess. It's this deliberate, careful choice that has to perfectly balance a deep understanding of the business, a sharp eye on the competition, and, most importantly, a real connection to the customer.
So, the next time you're shopping and you see that $19.99 price tag, you'll know it's not just a number, it's the final chapter of a long story. A story about costs and value and competition and a little bit of psychology. The only question is, what story is it telling you?